Yeah, hi everybody at YouTube. And I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all the lessons at the 7-Step System to Pass the TOEFL IBT. And I'm trying to figure out how to do a live stream to some of my YouTube participants, and I apologize to you guys. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of experimenting with this right now, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so what I want to do now is I'm going to go over to my website. I want to grade some of my speaking practice tests. Okay, so that's what I want to do right now. If anybody starts watching, if you have any questions after I do a practice test, you can certainly ask me some of those things. All right? Okay, so first of all, I'm going to go to my email. And I have students who send me practice tests almost every day. And I'm going to listen to some of these right now. Now, what you can do is, if you want, you can listen to the practice test, and then you can figure out, well, how would you answer this question? Then you can listen to the student's response, and then you hear me give comments on the student's response. And maybe after each practice test, you can ask a question if you want. Okay? All right, so let me go to the first one here. So, okay, this is from my first student here. This is Mizuho. I'm going to go ahead and find the question too. So this student's answering my independent speaking practice test number 44. Let's take a look at what this one is. So it says, what would your dream house look like? Use specific examples and details to support your explanation. So I'm going to go ahead and start another recording talking to this student while I'm live streaming at YouTube. Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Mizuho, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-Step System to Pass the TOEFL IBT. So you're answering my independent speaking practice test number 44. And let's listen to your response. So I'm going to download it right now. And let's hear how you answer this question. So you are describing your dream house. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me go ahead and get the question here. Okay, here we go. You ready?
My dream house is a big house. I need a big place for 2 reasons. First, I have a lot of...
No. You're trying to say, well, you want it to look like this for 2 reasons, but why even say 2 reasons? Describe your dream house. It's simple. As you give examples and details, you don't have to say for 2 reasons. Explain what the house looks like inside. You can talk about the living room, the dining room, the kitchen, the bedrooms. You can talk about the front of the house or the rear of the house. So remember that all TOEFL, a lot of these independent speaking tasks, you can't just use one template to answer these questions.
My dream house is a big house. I need a big place for 2 reasons. First, I have a lot of stuff I want to keep. For example, I have a lot of stuffed animals, which I liked when I was a child. I have a lot of presents and letters my friend gave me. Even though I don't need most of them right now, I cannot throw them away because there are a lot of memories of them. But right now I live in a small apartment, so I cannot keep them all, and I feel bad. Second reason is I like to throw a party, so
The second reason about what? I mean, why are we giving reasons here? It's not why do you want this to be your dream house. The question is, what would your dream house look like? So you might say, well, first of all, in my dream house, I want 4 bedrooms. I want to make sure I have a living room, a dining room, and also I want a big garage, maybe a 3 or 4 car garage, so I can put all of my belongings in that area. You can talk about your backyard, front yard, all of those things.
I need a big space. For example, I sometimes invite a lot of people and there is no place to sit and there is uncomfortable, so that's why I want to have a big house.
All right, so you're not really answering the question, I think, in the way that it needs to be answered. So let me look at the rubrics here. I'm going to give you a score. Okay, give me a quick second. Okay, so let's take a look at how I need to grade this. So I need to grade this in 3 areas. First of all, I want to grade it in terms of your delivery. I want to also give you some feedback based on your language use and then also based on your topic development. So let's see how you score based on those 3 categories. So give me a quick second here. I think I have it right. Okay, got it. So delivery, Ms. Suho, this one you're not 100% intelligible, so one thing I think you can improve on is your intonation. So if you go to my online TOEFL course, I'd like you to focus on my pronunciation lessons 36 through 40, which will deal with intonation. So go through those lessons and make an effort to vary your intonation more than what you're doing right now. All right, secondly, let's talk about language use. Overall, I didn't notice any specific errors with your vocabulary or your grammar. However, your vocabulary is a little bit basic, so you need to be more precise in how you're explaining your ideas. So I think that's also important. If you go to my vocabulary lesson 3, that is a good start to help you boost or help you learn more vocabulary, so you can check that out. Topic development, this is the one that I think you can work on also. See, you looked at the question, what is your dream house, and then give examples. So you looked at the question, you interpreted it to mean, why do you want this to be your dream house? That's where you started for 2 reasons. But that's kind of a contrived, memorized template, and it doesn't really fit, I think, for what you're trying to do here. So I think in terms of describing the house, you can talk about the inside of the house, maybe the front yard, the backyard, and maybe the garage or any other special things that you want about the house. That's probably how you want to approach this kind of question, because when you're describing, you want to be very, very specific in your answer. Your score here on this particular independent speaking task, I'm going to put you at about 2.1 out of 4, 17 points out of 30 on this particular practice test. All right, Ms. Suho? All right, thank you. Okay, now you guys, I think somebody is watching over here at YouTube here. Let me see how many people is watching here. So if you're watching this right now, here's what you want to learn from this first practice test that I graded. You can't just use a certain template to answer all independent speaking tasks, right? So you have to make sure that you look at the question, you understand the question, and then you answer or you give your answer based on the speaking task. So that's not what she did. She tried to say, well, this dream house is important to me for 2 reasons, but that's not really what the question was asking. So be very careful when you're looking at that speaking task and make sure you understand what it is you're being asked to do. And the for two reasons thing, everybody does that. That's a very bad idea. I don't think it's a good idea to say for two reasons because it doesn't do anything to refocus your response either. All right, I'm going to go ahead and email the results to this student. So we'll say Ms. Zero speaking for December 9th. So I will send her results right now. Okay, let's see. So here we go here. I'm going to send her results. Then we'll go to the next one. I think I have about 8. I have 8 practice tests I need to grade right now. It's hard work. And students have to work very hard. And most of my students that are very serious, they will practice. They will send me anywhere from 5 to 7 speaking practice tests every week. No kidding. So we send this message here. Back to the email right now. So let's go to the next one. All right, my next student is Marcelo. He's working very hard, and his score, he's very close to getting 26, I think, out of 30 on the speaking. He's working on a few issues. So let's see how he did this, answered this question. Yeah, hi, these comments are for Marcelo, and I am Michael Buckoff, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. And you're answering independent speaking practice test number 248. So before I listen to it, I want to go ahead and listen to your, I want to look at what the question is first so I know what I'm doing here. All right, so it says your principal is trying to decide whether or not to completely ban all cell phones in the classroom. Students are not paying attention or continuing on their cell phones. So what course of action or solution would you advise? So really the question here, Marcelo, is do you think it's a good idea to ban cell phones, or how do you control cell phone use if you are the principal? So what would you do? All right, so let's download your response. Okay, here we go.
I would suggest to my principal that he allow the use of phones, but with the condition of emergency calls.
Good. I like how you begin this. So you say, I suggest that he allows, so you're using the subjunctive right away. You're showing that you have very advanced grammar, so that's a good start. And then you're saying restrict the phone use to emergencies, right?
First of all, phones are very useful in some cases. For example, the one family of one of the students.
Now, I would say instead of the cell phones are useful in many cases, just say, well, the principal should not ban the cell phones because of their usefulness. Remember that everything you're saying, you're trying to connect it back to the purpose of the speaking task.
Suffer one accident, a phone call will be very necessary.
You want to say very necessary, so you had a little bit of problems with your word stress there.
However, a part of that reason, they're not sure.
Okay, let me go back. I want to listen to you make that transition. Give me a second.
In some cases, for example, the one family of one of the students suffered one accident, a phone call will be very necessary. However,
okay.
a part of that reason, there not should be a reason to look at that phone for a long time. So in that case, the principal should remove that phone.
A little bit of trouble there, so you might want to, you're having some trouble with your grammar in terms of fully explaining the idea, but you might say something like, If the principal or the teachers notice that students are using cell phones in non-emergency situations, then they should control the use of these phones more. So you have to say something like that, and that helps connect what you're saying back to the purpose of your speaking.
That's why I will give him those suggestions.
All right, let me listen to it one more time now so I can give you another score here. I can accurately evaluate what you're trying to say. Okay, here we go, one more time.
I would suggest to my principal that he allow the use of phones, but with the condition of emergency calls. First of all, phones are very useful in some cases. For example, if one family of one of the students suffered one accident, a phone call will be very necessary. However, apart of that reason, there not should be a reason to look at that phone for a long time. So in that case, the principal should remove that phone. Well, that's why I will give him those suggestions.
Okay, all right, I got it. I can give you a score now. So delivery, you had some pauses and some hesitations in there, and I had to listen to certain parts of your response more than one time. So again, I think you need to keep working on your intonation. You want to try to vary your tone more than you're doing. I know this is something that you've been working on, and keep working on that. That's very, very important. Language use, you had some problems with either your grammar and your vocabulary, and you didn't really fully express what you're trying to say. And with your topic development, sometimes what you're saying doesn't directly connect back, I think, to the purpose of the speaking, right? So I'm going to put you here at about 2.6 out of 4, 20 points out of 30 on this particular practice test. All right? Now I'm going to email Marcelo his or my audio comments to him. Okay, here we go. Go back. Send him a quick message. This one was not his best response, so what some of my students will do, and what you can do too, is not a bad idea, is sometimes before they do the speaking, they will take 30 or 40 minutes, they'll practice, they'll write it out, they'll make sure the vocabulary and grammar is good, they'll put the examples in there, they'll do everything, and then they post it for me, and of course they're going to score higher on that because they're taking too much time, but they're working through a lot of language use issues when they do that, so it is good practice. But in other cases, like what you saw here, he probably only took about 15 or 20 seconds, so he did it spontaneously without a lot of preparation, and he kind of stumbled a little bit. Okay, let me email this to him. I'm going to email him his results. All right, so let's go back here. All right, let's see what we have here. I'm trying to figure this out. Can we go to the next one here? I'll give you guys a tip too at YouTube. If you guys haven't heard of it, there is a website out there, but it doesn't always work. But you might want to write this down, voxopop.com. Again, VOXOPOP.com. Voxopop is a discussion board. And you can actually go there and you can post speaking practice. So it's a very good place, I think, to do that kind of a thing. And in fact, I am going to my Voxy Pop group in just a minute. I want to check to see if any students left any recordings for me there. I'm going to check that in a minute. And I think it's pretty quiet right now. Okay, so that's not, no one left me any recordings there. So I'm going to go back to my email. Okay, here we go. Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Sir Ruthie, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-Step System to Pass a TOEFL IBT. So how are you doing today? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to download and open the speaking practice test that you emailed me, and let's see how you did. And thank you for putting the question right under the email, so it makes it easier for me to see what you're answering. So the question here is very simple. It says, giving some specific examples to support your ideas, describe a place you visited when you were a child. What is your favorite memory while visiting this place? So again, notice there's two specific parts of this question. Describe the place first, then talk about your favorite memory. All right, so let me listen to the whole thing once, and then I will listen to it again in different parts and give you comments accordingly.
The most amazing place that makes me recollect my childhood was my grandparents' village, Condor. It is a very small village surrounded with high mountains. The melted snow water from the top of the mountains, they used to form small brooks through the village. And the crystal water, they used to moisten the grass and crops in the village, and they were also provided the village people with all sorts of fish and shrimps. The appearance of the mountain sides varies as the seasons change. The pictures of the place and the life there will always live in my mind. The most amazing.
Okay, so I just listened to the whole thing, so here are my first impressions. My first impression is this: you did a brilliant job describing the place. You did try as best you could to give a description of the place that you visited. Now, what is your favorite memory while visiting the place? It's that part of the question you didn't really develop that much. So you want to make sure when you have a two-part question, you want to take about half of your time answering the first part of the question, and then take half of your time answering the second part of the question. You see what I'm saying? All right, let's go back and let me listen to it in parts. Okay, here we go.
The amazing place that makes me recollect my childhood was my grandparents. The most amazing place that makes me...
You say the word place, you're saying the most amazing place that makes, but you have to make that vowel sound longer. The most amazing place. Right? That's what I would do there.
I recollect my childhood was my grandparents' village, Condor.
My grandparents' village, the only problem there is to describe the entire village is difficult to do, especially when you only have about 20 seconds. Now, if you talk about your grandparents' house, you could probably give some specific description of the house, but maybe not the entire village. So what am I trying to tell you here? I'm trying to say that it's important that you limit your focus on these kinds of speaking tasks. That way you can get very, very specific details in your answer.
It is a very small village surrounded with high mountains.
Usually we say surrounded by high mountains, not surrounded with. So with the word surrounded, we usually use by. Now you could use with, and there's no meaning problems in there, but just a suggestion.
The melted snow water from the top of the mountains, they used to form small brooks through the village.
I would not say they, but just say melted snow from the tops of the mountains formed. So you're saying melted snow from the mountains, or melting snow, you can say melting snow from the mountains formed. So use that gerund, I think, as your subject. That way you don't need to have the pronoun they.
And the crystal water, they used to moisten the grass and crops in the village, and they were also provided the village people with all sorts of fish and shrimps.
But what is your favorite memory? You can't forget that second part of the question. So once you've described the place, then you can repeat part of the question. Say, well, my favorite memory when visiting the village is when you might talk about climbing a mountain with your grandmother, your grandfather, maybe you went fishing somewhere. Try to be specific, make it personal, and try to give that example to help support what you're trying to say.
Sides. The appearance of the mountain sides varies as the seasons change. The pictures of the place and the life there will always live in my mind.
All right, so now let's take a look at the rubrics here. Okay, on this one, in terms of delivery, sometimes it's a little bit tough. You remember the word place? I gave you a suggestion of how you can pronounce that a little bit longer. So if you want to go to the pronunciation area in my course, I recommend that you keep spending time focusing on my lessons. I think I have 24 video lessons that focus around the vowel and the consonant sounds. I really suggest that you focus a lot on the vowel sound lessons, video lessons that I have, and get more used to pronouncing the vowels of American English, right? I think that would be good. Let's take a look at your language use. Overall, you had some problems in there. One time you used the word they, and I gave you an idea of maybe said the melting snow and the mountains formed, and I gave you some suggestions on how you can make your grammar a little bit less, not necessarily going to say complicated, but there's some things you can do with your sentence structure that can improve your fluency, I think. So if you go to the grammar part of my course, take a look at the lessons on gerunds and infinitives and make sure you understand how you can use gerunds and infinitives as subjects. I think that would be important. Topic development, this is where you'll probably lose the most points. Technically, really, to be honest with you, you really only answered the first part of the question. Even then, I gave you the suggestion it would have been better if you'd focused around maybe describing your grandparents' house as opposed to trying to talk about the whole village, because that's not easy to do. So the more focused you are, the more specific you will be able to be during this. And you didn't really answer the second part of the question, which is what is your favorite memory while visiting this place? So you had some topic development issues there. So you're speaking on this one, I'm going to put you at about 1.8 out of 4 or 14 points out of 30 on this particular practice test. So I think it would be tough even to get a 2 on this one based on how you answered that question. All right? Okay, now I will email her results. And that goes back to what I was saying a minute ago to my YouTubers out there watching right now. Make sure, I said this earlier in the video, make sure that you can identify what you're being asked to do before you do it. So in her case, she described the place but didn't talk about the favorite memories. So she left out the second part of the question. So obviously, she's not going to be able to get a high score if she hasn't completely answered both parts of the question. Okay, I'm going to email this. Now I have one more that I'm done here. Now if anybody watching this, I don't even know how this works. I'm not even sure if anybody's watching, but if you're watching this, if you have some questions, after I finish the last speaking practice test, if you have something that you'd want to ask me, You can do that. You might want to write it down now, get your question ready, and I'll try to help you as much as I can. I have graded, it's probably hard for you guys to believe this, I've graded probably over 7,000 independent and integrated speaking practice tests over the last 4 or 5 years at my website, and I teach TOEFL preparation over here at California State University, San Bernardino. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and email her results. So remember, get your questions ready. I got one more here. Here we got one more, Raphael. Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Raphael, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT. So, happy holidays to you and your family. And it looks like you're answering independent speaking practice test number 285. So here's a question. Describe your ideal family. Use specific examples and details in your response. So you're just going to talk to me about what your ideal family is. And I'm going to go ahead and listen to your response right now. Here we go.
An ideal family could be described as a family whose main characteristic is the unity, and also a family which are composed by 4 members. It is very important that a family be united, taking into account that its members are going to be my main source of support, which is going to be very important, especially in the future in critical situations. In addition, having 4 members in my family is very advantageous in terms of financial savings, for example, due to the fact that there are a lot of deals made by travel agencies due to this kind of families. In fact, I had the opportunity to take advantage of many of these deals in the past.
Okay, now I'm going to listen to it one more time. Now I want you to write down these 3 words. You're having some trouble. I think this is a pronunciation lesson number 11. Okay, you want to write these down? Here they are. This, that, these, and those. And specifically, this, these. Make sure you know how to pronounce the differences between those 2. Hit, heat, mit, meet. So go to pronunciation lesson pronunciation lesson number 11, Raphael, and do some practice with those 2 vowel sounds. One is a lax vowel, the other is a tense vowel. For example, if you say mit, that's more of a lax vowel. If you say meat, meat, that's a tense vowel, and you're having some trouble differentiating between those. All right, let's go back to the beginning again.
An ideal family could be described as a family whose main characteristic is the unity, and also...
Okay, whose main characters? Interesting. Wow. Now let me go back, let me check your subject-verb agreement here.
An ideal family could be described as a family whose main characteristic is the unity, and also...
Whose main characters is? Whose main characters? I'm trying to get that word you said after that. Let me listen.
Characteristic is the unity, and also...
That, what you're saying right there, I'm not getting that 100%, I'm going to be honest with you. So I'm having a little bit of trouble with your intelligibility there, but I like how you start off with a very good tone, you put a lot of emotion in there, so you're starting off okay, but you have that intelligibility problem with that one word.
A family which are composed by 4 members.
A family which is composed, I think, of 4 members, or it depends. Family, if you look at family as a unit, a singular unit, the family is, or the family consists of. Now, if you're talking about the individual members of the family are, but I think you're using this as a collective noun, so I would use the word family is, not family are.
It is very important that a family be united.
Very good with your subjunctive. You guys are awesome with your grammar today. Wow, it's important that a family be united. You didn't say is united, so you're using the subjunctive mood because you said the word important. Then in the noun clause, you're using the base form of the verb, and that's good grammar, my friend. Wow. Very nice. All right, let's keep going here.
To into account that its members are going to be my main source of support, which is going to be very important, especially in the future in critical situations.
I like that. Good vocabulary. So in critical situations, you've already used the word important before, so now you're using a synonym of that. It kind of means the same thing. So good control of your vocabulary.
In addition, having 4 members in my family is very advantageous in terms of...
Is very advantageous, not advantages. Advantages is a noun, so you want to use the adjective there. I think advantageous is the better word to use there, not advantages.
Financial savings, for example, due to the fact that there are a lot of deals made by travel agencies due to this kind of families. In fact,
there, due to this kind or these kind of families. It depends on what you're trying to say. It sounds like you're saying these kinds of families, so then say these, not this.
I had the opportunity to take advantage of many of these deals in the past.
I've had the opportunity to take advantage of these deals in the past. So like I said before, I think it would be a good idea for you to review some of those specific lessons that focus on the mit and the meat vowel sounds, those 2 vowels. All right, so let's take a look here. What I want to do now is give you a score, so let me get the rubrics here. So I think overall you described the ideal family, you gave, I think, some information in there, and you're trying to connect your information and give details and so on, but you had some minor, I think, language use issues in your response. You also had some delivery issues. Minor things, nothing major. But still, any little problem that you have is a big problem if you want to score 26, right? Now, if you're okay with 20 or 22, it's not a problem at all. But a lot of my students, like you, I know you want to get probably 4 on at least 4 of your speaking tasks. You want to get at least 3 on 2 of your speaking tasks. By the grace of God, if you can do that, I mean, come on. If you can do that, that's what's going to give you the 26. And I'm telling you, though, I don't think you would get a score 4 on this one because of some of the problems I pointed out. So I'm going to put you right now at about 3.0 out of 4, 23 points out of 30 on this particular practice test, Raphael. All right? Okay, let me email him his results. So speaking for December 9th, I'm going to go ahead and send this to him. Okay, let's go back to the email here. Here we go. Yeah, my students, if you guys at YouTube are watching right now, my students really have 2 ways of sending speaking. And remember that my online course, I allow my students to send up to 1 speaking practice test daily. So theoretically, it's possible, if my students are diligent, they could do up to 30 speaking practice tests in 30 days, and they get comments back from me. They can do the same thing with their writing. Okay, here we go. Okay, I think I'm just about done here. I'm almost done. And I will answer any questions that any of you guys have here in just a minute. Okay, now let me make sure this email is good. Okay, I just sent this one. Wow, my email's getting busy. I got one more here. I thought I was done. And so it is. College, so let's see what he's doing. So he's doing integrated speaking practice test number 4. Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Khaled, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-Step System to Pass a TOEFL IBT. And how are you doing today? And you just completed my integrated speaking practice test number 4. So reading, listening, speaking, and it's more casual type information. Let's hear how you answered this question.
The math student talks about why it is important for a student to go to school, and he mentions 2 reasons to explain his idea.
Your tone is incredible. Absolutely, I love your tone. I don't know how you did it, but this is exactly the kind of tone that you need to score very high on the delivery. Now be careful, Khaled, of those hesitations and those pauses in there, but I definitely like your tone.
The first reason was some students decided to go to school just to get knowledge. For example, a student who decided to study geography might get a good information about the importance of environmental protection, for example.
Now, let me help you out a little bit. You're using present perfect, you're using past or whatever, but when you're summarizing other people's ideas, you can say, well, if a student decides to study geography according to the reading passage or according to the speaker, blah, blah, blah. So you can actually use, Khaled, the simple present tense to explain other people's information. That's an acceptable verb tense to use in these kinds of situations.
The second reason, some students decided to go to school because they want to have a good profession that gives them a good salary. For example, he mentions his friend who decided to...
How about the speaker? The speaker gives the example of a friend, but I like how you're saying he mentions, he discusses. Another point made is, it's good that you do that. You're framing the information from the third person point of view, so we know that you're actually summarizing somebody else's ideas, so we can see how all the ideas are connected. So that's a good strategy that you're doing there.
Study small business administration so he can run his father's company after graduation.
All right, let me listen to it one time all the way through again, and then I'll give you a score.
The math student talks about why it is important for a student to go to school, and he mentions 2 reasons to explain his idea. The first reason was some students decided to go to...
Now, if this is integrated speaking 4, it seems to me that you have a reading passage and you have a speaker, right? A conversation, whatever. So you want to make sure that you mention the reading passage and the speaker.
School just to get knowledge. For example, a student who decided to study geography might get a good information about the importance of environmental protection, for example. The second reason, some students decided to go to school because they want to have a good profession that gives them a good salary. For example, he mentions his friend who decided to study small business administration. So
I would just say who decides. He mentions a friend who decides to...
can run his father's company after graduation.
Wow, if 90% of my students could have the intonation that you had, I'm telling you, they would really be able to score really high. So, very good job on your delivery, but I'm going to warn you about some of those pauses and those hesitations in there. Be careful about those. All right, let's take a look at it. So I think overall you accurately, I think, explained the information. You didn't really explain the information as coming from the reading, but you did talk about the information as coming from the speaker. But when you're explaining this, you want to say, well, the reading passage discusses X, and then the speaker gives an example to illustrate the concept. If you said something like that, then we can see how the two sources are connected, right? So that's a topic development suggestion I'm giving you right there. Overall, though, you had pretty good control, I think, of your language use. Other than some pauses and hesitations, I think that you did fairly well with your delivery. And I'm going to be a little cautious. I'm going to put you at about 24 points out of 30 on this. I think it might be possible that you could get a score of 4 on this practice test, but then maybe another IBT human rater might give you a score of 3, so I'm going to put you in the middle somewhere there. So I'm going to put you at about 24 points out of 30, or 3.1 out of 4 on this particular practice test. All right? Okay, now I'm going to email this to him, and I think I should be done here. Okay, let me send this to this student. There it is. I'm going to send him a quick message. Okay, I think I'm just about done for the day here. Does anybody have any questions? How do you even ask me a question? I don't even know how this works. Does anybody even see me? I don't see anybody. It says that 5 people are watching, but I cannot tell if anyone is watching at all. Who knows? All right, give me a quick second. I want to make sure my email is sent here. So I think I finished. Okay, my speaking folder is empty. I've cleared that out. Okay, let me see. Writing. I have a writing practice test from, I'm going to have my TA grade that one. I'll send it to him. I'll tell you a quick story. This is incredible. One of my students, it was about, I don't know how long it was. It was approximately about 2 years ago. I had this student, when I met him, his writing scores are around 21 points out of 30, right? So in 2.5 months, he improved his score 8 points, and he got 29 when he took it, and he improved his overall TOEFL score from 82 to 105. I'm not kidding you, it's crazy. Now, what did he do exactly? He completed a lot of writing practice tests. He made me so busy. I'm like, man, this guy is getting a good deal. He completed 35 practice tests over 2 months. He would send them to me. Then my teaching assistant would score them. He'd do another one. He did them every week over and over and over. And the main thing with writing is, if you keep at it long enough, you will get better. There's no joke. It's more of practicing the skill, getting your intro, developing your body paragraphs, and he got very good very quickly. And you might say, well, 2.5 months is a long time, but really, I teach composition here at California State University, San Bernardino, and writing typically does not improve very quickly. It usually takes people even years, really, to develop good writing proficiency, and he did it very quickly in a fairly short period of time. I think that's it. Now what do? I don't know what to do now. I need to I'm thinking of turning the video off. I don't see anybody, nobody's asking me any questions, so I'm not sure what to do. But even if I turn the video off, I'm not even sure how to do that. Anyway, if anybody else has any other questions, if you have a specific situation that you need some advice on, I get questions every day from students all over the world. For example, if your TOEFL score right now is about 80 or 81 and you're trying to get over 100 and you want to know how to do that, those are the kinds of questions I like to answer, and I will give you some good feedback on that. So you can go over to my website at onlinetoeflcourse.com. Okay, let me try one more thing here. Okay, so everything is good. And I'm trying to figure out how to turn this thing off. I'm not even sure how to do it. Let's see. I don't know what I'm doing here. All right. Hey, I'm looking at some of your comments. Okay, wait a minute here. Hey, I might be able to do something here. I don't know how this thing works, but I just looked below here, and I'm seeing some questions, and actually, I got to leave here in about 10 minutes, but somebody said, hi from Chile. Hassan, how's it going, buddy? You say turn off the birds, please. I can. I couldn't do that because remember that I was downloading audio files, and the student who did the practice test, the birds were in the background. So there's nothing I can do there. Somebody says here, how to speak faster without pauses. A Rukan, I won't say your last name, I'll keep privacy purposes. I can answer that, believe it or not. I can actually answer that question. In order to speak faster without pauses, number one, you need pauses. And what you want to do is, it's not pausing at all, but it's not pausing too often. You want to make sure you're pausing after 4 or 5 stress words. There. Hey, you just put a smiley face there. This is weird. This is now I feel like I'm talking to somebody. Okay, you're listening to me. Okay, so what you have to do is, we have what's called nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and verbs. And when you're speaking English and when you're doing TOEFL, you want to pause after 4 or 5 of these stressed syllables. You'll have a short pause, then you have another 4 or 5 syllables, followed by another pause, and on and on and on it goes. You see what I'm saying? So, of course, if I'm giving you an example of how to do it, let me give you 2 examples here. So, if I was reading a sentence here, if I said, do you want to help me advertise my online TOEFL course? That is terrible. You can't pause after every word. That will give you a very low score very quickly. You see what I'm saying? So you definitely don't want to do that. So what you do is you group words into thought groups. So in this case, I might say, do you want to help me advertise my online TOEFL course? Or maybe you might want to say this, do you want to help me advertise my online TOEFL course? You could probably say it like that. So now here's the other key. Once you've identified what your thought groups are in the sentence, you can blend words within thought groups. So that's also something that you can also do that will actually have a very positive effect, I think, on your speaking. I mean, to answer your specific question, right? So you're not pausing maybe after 2 or 3 stress words. You're pausing after every 4 or 5 stress words. Remember, don't count function words, words like determiners, prepositions, and so on. You don't count these as stress words. Okay, so I am I need to stop here. I'm gonna, somebody else had a question, but to be honest with you, I have to go to another building and give another final exam now, so I need to end this live stream, but to be honest with you, I don't know how to end it. So, I'm not sure what to do. I think I'm just going to close my computer, but anyway, anyone out there, thank you for watching. Again, for more information, go to onlinetoflcourse.com. All right?